Katherine Parr, The Sixth Wife, 6 Tudor Queens, Part 1. Today I want to talk about the 6th book in the series 6 Tudor Queens, Katherine Parr, The Sixth Wife by Alison Weir. God, I have been saying the number 6 a lot. This video has been broken into 2 parts because it is so long. The second part of this review will come out next week. This video is the 5th in a series covering Alison Weir's 6 Tudor Queen books and her other historical novels. I love Alison Weir as an author of both historical fiction and historical autobiographies. The book opens when Katherine is 6, just after her father dies of the sweat, and her life is changed due to her family losing her father's income, and they have to move in with her uncle, which she enjoys because her and her cousins are of a similar age. They also all benefit from Katherine's mother, Maud, insisting the girls have a good education. If there is any problem in Katherine's childhood, it is that her mother is often at court, serving the Queen, but Katherine doesn't mind too much because she loves learning. There is a little court drama intrusion when Katherine's uncle Will and her brother both start working for the Duke of Richmond, and you can see Lady Maud's loyalties to the Queen and her son are in opposition. This was an interesting idea, but it didn't last long enough to go anywhere. Then the wedding plans start when Katherine's older cousin and her uncle's ward get married, and then 11-year-old Katherine realizes she is next in line to marry. Lady Maud wastes no time trying to arrange an advantageous match for her pretty smart daughter, and there is lots of toing and froing that goes on for ages about Katherine's eventual marriage. Then the book skips forward a bit to Katherine's little sister Anne going to court as a maid-in-waiting to the Queen during the time of the great matter. Katherine is still at home, loving to learn. Then Katherine is told that she will be married to Edward Burgh, who is a few years older than her, and though she is hesitant and nervous, she knows her duty and consents to the match because it is a good one. I was really interested in seeing Katherine's first marriage because I had heard rumours that Katherine's first husband Edward was mad and wanted to see if they were true. As very few books about Katherine Parr feature anything to do with her first 2 marriages. Katherine's only misgiving is that her new home is going to be in the north, far away from her family. She likes Edward immediately, and even though he is a little quiet, she thinks she can come to love him. She likes his family as well, even if the children are a little bit too well behaved, and his stepmother acts like a ghost, and his father is a roaring, boastful giant. However, Katherine's wedding night does not go to plan. Edward cannot stay hard, even though they keep trying. Night after night, nothing seems to happen. Then, surprise, surprise, Edward is gay. Katherine catches him in the act with a stable boy, and I seen the twist coming and I didn't think it was great. Life is okay, but Lord Burgh is a bully, and Katherine isn't getting pregnant even though her and Edward have finally done the deed. And Lord Burgh has forbidden her from going riding. Lord Burgh gets worse gradually and beats his wife in front of the entire family for flirting with the steward, and Katherine's mother has to step in and make sure that Katherine and Edward get their own house, which she adores. The couple are much happier for the next few years, but there is no passion in their marriage. They are just good friends. Katherine eventually is in hopes of a child, but then her mother dies, and not long after, Edward dies, and Katherine loses the baby in her grief. Not long after Edward's funeral, Katherine is informed by Lord Burgh to move out of the house that she and Edward lived in. She has no choice, so she has to think about her options. She has some dower properties, but they are not worth the same amount as what she was getting well married, so she elects to live with a distant cousin. Then Lord Latimer comes a-calling, and Catherine makes the business decision to be his wife. He is a stable gentleman with 2 children, and he and Catherine accord well together. Jack, Lord Latimer's son, is not overly friendly to Catherine in the beginning, but he soon settles down. Then the rising in the north happens. And my God, was it a boring read. This was the part of the book I was most looking forward to, but I found it unbearably dull. In fact, I was so disillusioned by this bit of the book I put it down and didn't pick it up again for nearly 4 months. This has never happened to me before with an Alison Weir book. I normally find her stuff very compelling to read, but there is just no spice in this book, no knife edge for Catherine to walk. I understand that Alison Weir wants to keep to the facts where she can, but I mean, she gave Anne of Cleves a bastard. She could have done something with the rebellion to make it more interesting. After the rebellion, Snape Castle is sullied for the family, and they choose to live in their properties in the south. But it is not an exciting read. There is some religion talk, which is to be expected. It is Katherine Parr, but nothing gripping, and I would have liked at least for John and Catherine to have fought about religion on some level, but nothing happened. Then Lord Latimer gets tuberculosis, and Catherine plays the nursemaid for a long time, which is a sad read, but not an interesting one. She starts to court Tom Seymour at this point in the book, and that isn't even interesting. To be honest, I think Katherine Parr is just too good a girl to be interesting, though the Seymours are very similar to the way they were portrayed in Jane's book, so I really liked that. Catherine comes across the king in a garden after an evening with Tom Seymour, and she is a little tipsy, so when the king is upset about Catherine Howard, she forgets formality and is kind to him. The king takes this very much to heart, and immediately starts courting her himself. Her husband isn't even dead at this point, and she has Tom on the go. It still is incredibly dull. Katherine Parr in Henry's mind seems to have all the best qualities of his first 3 wives. She is obedient, well-educated, and noble, being a lady in her own right after the death of her husband. She is also highly intelligent. This is the end of the first part of this book review. If you enjoyed this review, leave a comment with your thoughts on Katherine Parr. You can also subscribe so you won't miss the second part of this review, which is coming out next week. If you like Alison Weir, make sure to check out my Alison Weir playlist. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lady Jessica Riddell. Until next time, remember, be useful in all that you do.